welcome to today's spoilers that we're going to be covering for Monday and Tuesday for Winds of the Ominous Moon. We have a bit of light, we've got a bit of red, and then we've got two random cards that got revealed for Wind and Darkness, which is a little bit strange how they were like, here, we're sorry if you're maybe still mad about a couple of things, have two extra spoilers because reasons. So that was definitely a little bit strange. Maybe they'll be doing that every single week. They'll just be like, hey, today have an extra two cards just randomly. I'm not going to complain, especially since a couple of these cards in this set I am very excited for, probably for the most obvious reason if you've seen the thumbnail of this video. But we're going to get into it here and we're going to start off with the light spoilers, so expect to see some pandas. Starting off here we have Holy Princess Nanny Citrine, who was alluded to last week from last week's spoilers when it was talking about the prince. This seems to be his nanny. She is a 2-cost Resonator, 2 light. She's actually a quick cast Resonator, which is kind of cool. She's a 500/700. When she enters the field, you prevent the next 500 damage that would be dealt to target J/Resonator or yourself this turn, which is pretty nice actually. You basically negate 500 damage, which is pretty decent. That could potentially save a Resonator's life or anything like that, or it could stop a bit of damage to yourself, which is pretty neat. She has always watched over the prince without fail by his side since birth. Very interesting that this is also a rare. I find that's quite interesting. So normally you can look at, say, rarities of different cards, and you can maybe figure out whether or not they are worthwhile, or even just depending on whether or not that you'll more than likely get a playset of them easily enough. I mean, it just depends, obviously. With the number of cards lowered in this set, it'll probably be a bit easier to get certain rares, but I guess that just depends on the ratio of rares in the overall set. But this looks like a really neat card. I like her artwork. It really bugs me though that some of these pandas, especially the female ones, have hair. It always throws me off because she's got blonde hair and it's kind of strange, but she's kind of cool. She's got a sword. I mean, she's a kick-ass nanny here if she's got a sword. But moving on, we have another spell here. We have a Jewel Illusion. This one featuring the prince himself, who's looking pretty cute down there. It's a quick cast 1-cost lights chant. As an additional cost to play this card, banish X amount of gems, and then you target X J/Resonators gain 300/300 until end of turn. So X is essentially the number of J/Resonators you are targeting, and they all just get a blanket effect of 300/300. It's not to boost the amount that they are getting, it's just boosting the amount of Resonators that are getting that buff. So it's a decent buff on its own. This probably is mainly good if you want to use this with a lot of Resonators. So usually the panda decks, they would like to try and get at least a decent amount of pandas out to get their gems up. So I think this would be a pretty decent chant to use. Maybe not like a 4 of, I'd maybe do it as a 2 of, maybe. It just depends on what kind of panda deck you're going for. Illusions manifested by light are not easily distinguished from reality. I'm not quite sure what that's talking about, but the artwork seems pretty cute and everything. Next up, we have an Elemental. So it seems like we're going to be getting Elementals for every Will attribute by the looks of it. So I guess this is opening up your options for what stones you want to run in your deck. This is the White Leaf. It is a 3-cost Resonator. It is 1 white and 2 void, and 800/800. You can banish this card and gain 800 life, or if you inheritance it for 0, you gain 600 life. So this is really a kind of decision that you want to make. Do you want to pay 3 will to essentially have, say, a potential blocker or one that you could just banish to gain 800 life, or you can just inheritance it for 0 and gain 600, which is actually kind of cool because it means that if you just plan to run it for inheritance sake, then you really don't need to run the white in order to pay the 1 cost up above for its will requirement. I could potentially just see maybe elemental decks if anyone's even running those decks nowadays. I've never really seen them in any kind of meta or format. But it could be interesting, you never know. You could just slip this into any deck essentially since it's a inheritance is 0 cost. So very interesting here. And then finally for the white ones, we have Resuscitating Will. Resuscitate? Yeah, that's how you pronounce the word, I'm pretty sure. It's a quick cast 1-cost one. It's also an aura. I can't remember whether this is the first time we've seen an aura chant. I think it is. I think this is the first instance we've seen one. But by the looks of it, it's Lumia here, or Emio, whatever you want to call her. It looks like she's trying to stab Grim. I believe that's Grim at the bottom there, and she's smiling while she's doing so. This card basically recover target J/Resonator, which, hey, see that Jade Ruler that you just attacked with? Why don't you recover it and swing again? So this is pretty much maybe not a broken card, but I can see this definitely maybe being played in Ayu or any kind of light deck. Oni-sama next time in the future. Lumia. So this one actually calls her Lumia as opposed to Emil. So I wonder if this is her finally realizing or remembering who she is. She's no longer corrupt or something like that. Don't know if she's successfully killing Grim here. I'm not too sure. This is also rare. So this is going to be very, very beautiful in full art. I really want to maybe try and get full art of this because this is going to be a very beautiful card. But we are moving on from the light because I don't really have too much to say about the light resonators. We're going to move straight on into the fire cards and whatever because I am hella excited. Look who's here. It's your home girl, Sylvia, and she looks happy. You can't, like, I am smiling as I'm, like, looking at this card here. You have no idea. This is Pael's cook, Sylvia. So, by the looks of it, one of the other cards is going to explain really what is going on here. This kind of definitely confirms that the timeline that we're in right now is very different from the timeline that the Lost Tomes is set in. Lost Tomes seems to be the basically the timeline that led up to what happened in Lapis Cluster, and then this timeline that we're on is the one that's kind of messed up due to Kaguya, or the Time Swing Witch's influence and what she's been doing. So in this instance, we have a happy Sylvia. Look at her little smile and her cute little tiny horns and her little hair up in like a chopsticks and like a ponytail. She is so cute. I love her. She's a 2-cost Dragonoid. She's 1 fire and 1 void. She has no attack but 600 defense. So sadly, she's a little bit on the weaker side. But her effect is, when this card enters the field or at the beginning of your turn, if there are no counters on this card, put a cooking counter on it. Otherwise, remove all cooking counters from this card and put that many spoiled cuisine counters on it. So you've got 2 different sets of counters here. I hope you're keeping up. If you remove a cooking counter from this card, another target J/Resonator gains 400/400 until end of turn. Or you remove a spoiled cuisine counter from this card, and another target J/Resonator gains minus 400/400 until end of turn. Now, I really want to try and figure out a way to like use all these new Sylvia cards in a deck of some kind. I have no idea what kind of deck I would run them in. I would probably maybe make it a Carrick one or something like that, but I desperately want to make a deck where I'm using the Sylvias, even if maybe they're not the best Resonators, because the one from Lost Tomes is a 1 cost, but it's got like a huge Awakening cost, and then this one's just a 2 cost with like no attack. But I want to try and figure out a way to use this card because I love Sylvia so much, as you guys know. And obviously, your main man Sigmund here coming in with some more adorable artwork, and since this card is a rare, that means it's going to come in full art, so I desperately need to get a full art of this, and I just need the full artwork when the usually when the set drops after pre-release or whatever, the artist will normally release the full artworks or whatever on Twitter and everything like that. I can't wait to add this to like my folder of Sylvia pictures because I just can't wait. I need to draw her in this outfit because this outfit looks really cute. At the bottom here it says, Pael-san, this time for sure it's edible, so please try it. I'm just like, oh, Sylvia looks so happy. I'm so proud. I could cry. I'm so proud for my girl. She seems so happy. And moving on here, we have Red Leaf, another 2-cost Resonator. This one's 1 fire and 1 void. 600, another elemental. You can banish this card and it deals 500 damage to target J/Resonator, or you can inheritance it for 1 void. This card deals 300 damage to target J/Resonator. So again, this is one of the ones where you can inheritance it. Technically, you don't need to pay like a red for it, so you could really run it in the mono green mono green elemental deck if you so wanted, or you can like splash in a bit of red if you really want to. But I feel like maybe you're maybe just running this for inheritance, or maybe you do actually want to play this and be able to banish it and do all sorts of stuff. But at the bottom here it says red for passion, so it looks like we're going to get an elemental basically for every colour by the looks of it by the end of it. And then next up we have this pretty epic and awesome SR chant. This is Kaiser Phoenix. This artwork has popped up a couple of times in promo images and whatnot, and I was always wondering what the heck is going on here, because there's like this phoenix going on, and it seems to be that is Carrick in the middle of it, so this seems to be maybe his greatest or most powerful battle art, because it is a battle arts chant. It is a quick cast, it's 3, it's 2 fire and 1 void. And check this out, this card deals 1000 damage to target J/Resonator. If that card will be put into a graveyard from the field this turn, remove it from the game instead. So this is pretty awesome. And then the awakening cost for your first one, it is 7 strength counters, so that is pretty insane. Remove them from your J ruler, put this card into its owner's hand as it resolves, so basically, hey, do you fancy playing it again next turn? And then the other awakening cost is you remove 10 strength counters from your J ruler, put target Resonator from your graveyard that was put into that zone from the field this turn into the field. So that is just hella crazy for this card, that for 3 costs you're dealing 1000 damage, which is pretty insane. Would most likely kill most creatures, maybe not most J rulers, because a lot of them nowadays have about at least 1200 defense. As opposed to just the standard 1000, but this is still a pretty decent card, and obviously as an SR, you can imagine the full art is going to look hella pretty. I would love to at least get a full art of this, because this is a very, very nice card. After a burnout, a grand rebirth is sure to occur. So I'm really, really excited about seeing these fire cards, because these ones have gotten me really excited. I'm really looking forward to these ones, and I definitely need to get some full arts for them. And then finally, for the last one, I totally forgot about this one. This is probably the best card ever. Burnt Cooking. Best card ever, mainly because of the flavor text and everything. It's a 1-cost quick cast. Target J/Resonator gains 400, plus 400, minus 400 until end of turn. If it's a Dragonoid, it gains plus 400, 400 instead. Put 3 strength counters on your J-Ruler. There is a little bit of a typo there, but I'm going to ignore it for the pure artwork here of Happy Sylvia trying to cook Pael and Kara Camille and seemingly not doing too well of it. But at the bottom here it says, where'd you pick this up from? Got it as a prize from the tournament. Is the food that girl makes even edible? Even poison is medicine to a Dragonoid. So from the context here, it sounds like either... well, it says Kirk and Pael, so I'm assuming Kirk is the one who's speaking first. So Pael essentially won a tournament, or rather one of the fighting tournaments that they love to take part in, and her prize, either for winning or where she ended up placed, was Sylvia herself. So apparently she was a slave of some kind. She is a type of red Dragonoid, although she's clearly a different kind compared to Kirk and Pael. And it seems like now Pael is going to try and teach her how to cook. You know, because the Dragonoids do love their cooking. Well, the red ones at least, they take their strength from their meals and everything, and cooking is sacred to them and stuff like that, which I kind of like as part of their lore. So now I've just got these headcanons, and it was kind of funny because me and Negative Legend were actually talking about this on Twitter, whatnot, about how this is now my headcanon that Sylvia now has been adopted by Kirk and Pael. She's going to learn how to cook, she's going to be taught how to fight by Kirk and Pael, she's going to learn all these battle arts, and she's going to enter the championship, essentially the tournament, and become the new champion of Mount Hoel. I can see that as her story arc, and I'm going to accept it as my headcanon, because the Forceful lore will probably not even touch upon this at all. It'll probably be swept to the side, and I'll be very disappointed, but at the same time, I am in love with this flavor text here, and I'm in love with the implications of it. I might even do just a separate video dedicated to, like, talking about the scenario, or even just, like, writing a story for it, because I would love to talk about this more. And I also love the artwork here. This one is actually by M. Gansey, I think at the bottom here it says. So this is kind of cool that Sylvia's drawn by a different artist here. Not Sigmund, but still a pretty decent rendition of her. Still managed to capture her tiny Dragonoid cuteness. And then finally we have these random 2 spoilers that we got today. We've got a Wind one and a Darkness one. We have Leaf Assassin here, a 1-cost green elemental. It is 300, 400. When this card enters the field, reveal any number of elementals from your hand. This card deals 200 damage to target J/Resonator for each card revealed this way. Which, you know, is alright, I guess. It's a kind of weird ability here, I'm not too sure. Again, I'm a bit iffy about the elemental deck, and, you know, the elemental deck, most of the time it seems to be pushing for, hey, you want to play a lot of elementals, but at the same time it's like, well then, what do I play if I've not actually got any other resonators in the field? Like, what am I playing? Am I going to flip Gil? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But at the bottom here, some really interesting flavor text, actually. Gil returned from his confrontation with Alhamet. With new memories and powers, he now rejoins his allies. So this is a really bizarre... I don't know if it's implying here that somehow Kaguya has somehow brought back the original timeline Alhamet to try and destroy the good one. I have no idea what is going on here. For some reason, Gil has managed to either face himself, because it is strongly implied from the Lost Tomes anyway, that he is going to become Alhamet, or in certain timelines, that is who he becomes. So how does he face himself? Does he face himself from another timeline? He has new memories and powers, so I'm not too sure what's going on here, but he says he rejoins his allies, so it seems like in this timeline, he's definitely not turning evil, which I have so many questions about, and I hope they get answered somehow in some way. That's really the most interesting thing about the card I find, so that's why I'm not really talking about its ability too much. And then finally we have Glint of Insight, which is a mystery chant. It is a 1 darkness. You name a card, your opponent reveals their hand, and discards all cards that share a name with the named card. And if you remove 2 mystery counters from your J-Ruler, this card in your graveyard gains a remnant until end of turn. Now, I've heard a lot of people saying that this should have been Rhea's sealed ability on her J-Ruler side, or something a lot closer to this. People were saying that, you know, it would have been better if, like, she had this ability instead, and instead of it being, like, a once per turn thing, she could do it always, or anything like that, or, like, she could do it, like, say, quick cast speed, or she could do it at basically at any point in a turn, like, it doesn't need to be your turn specifically. So I'm not too sure how to feel about it. I mean, I do love the artwork. The artwork is very nice. This is one of the promo images we saw before in terms of advertising for Winds of the Ominous Moon. I'm not too sure whether I would run this card myself, because obviously you'd have to have a good idea of what your opponent is playing. Maybe this is a sideboard card. I could definitely see it being sideboard material. Other than that, I'm not too sure. Not being able to use your power is the same as having no power at all. So I don't know if something's happening here where is someone trying to like strike her eye? It looks like she's trying to grab hold of someone's hand or something like that, or her hair is doing some mad thing or something like that, but I'm not too sure what's going on here, but something's definitely happening with her eye here, which I believe is the Eye of Ragnarok, which she got from somewhere. I can't remember whether she got it from her dad or whether she was actually there when Ragnarok was split apart, but I'm not too sure. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed these spoilers. Let me know what you think. You know, from me, my favorite spoilers were to do with Sylvia. Obviously, those were my two favorite cards that we got to see. What were your favorite cards from these sets of spoilers? I'll be back on Friday, obviously, to cover the spoilers from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then also we've got a video later on today for Card Game Wednesday and whatnot. I hope you look forward to watching that. And until next time, guys, I will see you all later. This video was made possible thanks to patrons such as Houston Moore, Alucard, and Craig McCutcheon.